Good morning. Um, it's been a little while. We've had some life kind of things going on, but if you've been tuning in, I apologize for the break, but hopefully you'll tune back in with me. We're in John 1 and picking up with verse 19. Going to read a little passage this morning. And this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" So when it says the Jews, typically, obviously the Jews were a big group of people. John the Baptist and Jesus would have been Jews, but in the way that it's being referred to now, it would mean the Jews who were opposed to Jesus, most likely. Probably the Pharisees. Sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask John the Baptist, "Who are you?" And so John the Baptist confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Christ." And so they asked him, "Well, what then? Are you Elijah?" So there was a prophecy saying that Elijah was, because Elijah had never died, he was taken up to heaven, was expected to return in the end times. And if you want to cross-reference that, it's Malachi 4:5, to restore all things. And John the Baptist would have resembled Elijah in his rugged lifestyle. So they asked him, "Are you Elijah?" And he said, "I am not." Now, what's interesting about that is Jesus in the book of Matthew, in Matthew 11, 13, says, "For all the prophets in the law prophesied until John, and if you are willing to accept it, he is Elijah who is to come. He who has ears to hear, let him hear." So this is when John the Baptist's disciples had come to question Jesus and ask him if he was really the Messiah. And so that was Jesus's reply. So that was an interesting little tidbit I'd not realized before. And so then they go on and say, "Are you the prophet?" And so in my notes it says the prophet was predicted by Moses and was expected in Jesus's day. And so John denied being the prophet, even though he was actually a prophet. But he denied being a prophet. And so he answered no. And so then they said to him, "Well, who are you? We need to give an answer to those who sent us," which would have been the Pharisees probably. "What do you say about yourself?" And so John the Baptist said, "I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as the prophet Isaiah said." Now, the Jews would have been very familiar with what he was quoting, most likely, which is a passage back in Isaiah. And it's Isaiah 40. And if you go down to verse 3, it says, "A voice cries, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken." So he was telling them straight up who he was, what his purpose was, and who he was here to reveal. And so just thought that was a interesting passage this morning, just bringing in some prophecy from the Old Testament, as well as what Jesus had said about John the Baptist. So again, if you'd like for me to pray for you specifically, feel free to leave me a message, and look forward to seeing you again in the closet. And as you can see, the laundry basket is full once again, but we'll see when that happens. Have a good day.